In fact, your name is with it. Hello and welcome to the GhostÉire Channel. My name's Anthony Kerrigan, and tonight we are joined by author and paranormal investigator Emma Louise Tully from Soul Paranormal. Hi Emma, how you doing?
How are you?
I hope everyone's enjoying the weekend. I know it's bank holiday in South here there, but it's fine weather, well for the moment anyway. But tonight we're going to be talking to Emma Louise about paranormal team, Soul Paranormal team. Also, Sharon Rectory, the probably most haunted rectory in Ireland. We'll be talking about that, where Emma Louise lives, and also her personal experiences as well. We'll be delving into that as well. Also, we have a poll this evening. We're revealing the results midway through the show. And the question we asked was, would you have the courage to stay overnight at a locked-off hotel room that has been isolated due to paranormal activity? We'll be revealing the results midway through the show. Also, we have a quiz, folks. You have to stay tuned. I'll give you a magic word, and you have to type that magic word, and you have a chance to go into our mini draw and Halloween mega draw. Just a shout out there. Louise Walsh says hi. Hi, Louise.
Hi, Louise.
How are you doing? And Jean Devoy says hello. Hi, Jean. How are you doing? Also, folks, if you have any questions, feel free to put them forward on this live event. You can just post any question there. You know, if you're affiliated with any paranormal team or tourist attraction, feel free to put that name of that organization in brackets and we'll give a shout out to you. You can also go to our website, www.ghostére.net, go to the contact page, fill in the blanks. If you have a private message, just put in brackets private message. Also, Colette. Hi, Colette. How you doing? Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Colette.
Hi, Colette from Soul Searchers. If you just correct me there, Colette, there. Just if you can name the paranormal team. Hi to everyone there. Louise from Ireland too as well. Hi, Louise there. So, so we're going to be talking about Soul Paranormal. I'm just going to ask you there, Emma Louise, how are you keeping? How are you?
I'm keeping good. Yeah, all good. All's been, just busy with, the sunshine and kids and it's and with work. So it's all good.
I know it's all busy down here. I'm living in Killarney there, and I'm just after the show's gone out, I'm just going to go out into the town and create havoc. So just a few more shouts out as well. Stephen O'Connor says hi from Dublin. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Stephen.
I hope you're having a good time in Dublin there. I hope you're behaving yourself there. So we're going to be talking to Emma Louise about Soul Paranormal. Can you tell us, Emma Louise, a bit about Soul Paranormal? Can you tell us about the how did you meet the other team members first? Did you meet team members first, or did you start first?
With our team members, it was myself and Kate Houston, my good friend. I've known Kate for over 20 years. She actually, I would have known her through Sharon Rectory and our experiences that we've had through Sharon Rectory. And we're both very keen in the paranormal. Obviously, I embraced it after all my experiences that I've had. So we just decided to form the team, and our other members then, I've my mum Lisa, she's involved in the team, and Brian and Keith, they're both involved in the team, and they're really, you know, they're gaining experience as they go along, if you know what I mean. Like they're all in keen interest in the paranormal. But Keith and Brian actually met through myself and Sharon Rectory when we had our paranormal events and Sharon Rectory. You know, they were guests from you know, the public investigations. So just from then, they kind of just sparked interest. I would have known Keith from years ago, just in a local area. Brian, actually, there's a bit of a story behind that. Brian was actually one of the fire during the night of the fire, and he had a bit of an experience that night, and he just kind of, you know, from then he kind of grew with the interest in the paranormal. So we just stayed in contact, you know, through the public investigations that we've had. Okay. So we just decided to form the team, and it's been great so far. You know, obviously with lockdowns this year so far, it's been quite difficult to get out, but now when everything's starting to open up again, and we're starting to be able to get back out and, you know, travel again, so we're just kind of making up now for lost time.
And, you know, I'll just give a shout out, because you mentioned the other team members there. I'll just give a shout out to Kate Houston, Brian McManaman, Keith Ramsey, and Lisa Tully. Hi folks there from Soul to Soul Paranormal. Can you tell us what is it? Do you have any objectives or aims? Is there anything different to other paranormal teams you might do? Or
well, it's just really the same. You know, we just want to go out and kind of just gain more knowledge in the paranormal. For me personally, I want to understand my experiences deeper. So this is the reason why I've kind of went into kind of embrace it. I'm currently studying depth with it and just figure out, you know, things. It's really weird. I had a voice come through my mic, another woman's voice. Did you hear it?
I know. There's a bit of interference, but I'm going to carry on regardless, because there could be a number of things there.
Could be things. I was just weird, you know, another voice come through.
I know, because, you know, because I've watched your past shows there, other podcast live shows there, and there is stuff happening whilst you're talking. Yeah. So I leave you. If anyone hears anything, please comment as well there. You know, if you see Emma Louise vanish, or you see a shadow behind her, let us know. Just give so carry on there. So yeah, is there any, like, so you mentioned, is there any skills or attributes certain team members have, or they bring technical skills, or?
Yeah, so she's very, very good, very well in tune, you know, with the paranormal world and the spirit realm altogether. Like she's the person, my go-to person. With Keith and Brian, they're kind of just developing their kind of abilities. You know, it's just they've got a little bit to go yet, and finding their own surroundings and kind of what they need to kind of feel with, you know, what if they're in danger, you know, the spirits wise, you know, if there's anything negative around, they need to try and kind of, you know, learn the difference in, you know, that danger. Just, you know, this is what we're going to work on with them now over the next few months. For myself, like I've been around, you know, spirits since I was 6 years of age. You know, I grew up in a very active location, so I just kind of developed it. What I got in spirits, I kind of started to kind of develop more. I wouldn't say I'm going as far as like I'm a psychic medium, like, because I wouldn't be able to tune in as well as Kate, but I am picking up a lot of things that she would pick up on too, you know, and it could be in it, you know, especially with investigations, it could be in a location that maybe, you know, me and another team member go out and check out first, and then Kate might come the second time, and you know, she would turn around and say, I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that, but I said the same thing, you know, the first time that, you know, that we were there. So it's really, you know, it's good that we're on the same page now, and with me working close with Kate now, I feel like I'm starting to kind of pick up a lot more things, and she's trying to help me kind of develop a little bit more. So it's all about just kind of learning this and learning your surroundings and your feelings and your own senses, you know, and feeling comfortable in that. You know, there's times, you know, investigations, you need to know when to walk away, when to stop, because I know a lot of teams, you know, they might not have that kind of sense to right, this, if you're in danger now, you're getting to past that. You need to get, you're going past the point of like the comfortable kind of phase, like, so you need to kind of move away and step back. That's very important. I've known this through Sharon Rectory a lot of times. There's times that you need to take a step back and say, no, we're going too far here. So that's one thing now we're very, very strong on, that you need to be respectful when you walk in to a location. Any location, may it be indoors, outdoors, very respectful approach with investigations. Like, so that's one thing now that we're set on. And, in the sense too that, you have to kind of, even if you're a while where there's people living there, to investigate, you need to ask their permission, are they okay to go and call out things? Because personally, I've seen it where, you're going in, you're calling out things, but you're it's come out of your mouth before you really realize, or the other people that's living there, it's going to affect them, whenever they leave, because a team can go in and investigate a location, but you're going away, you're going back to your own house, and that then people are there, then people still have to live with that. So you have to be really respectful to the spirits, like you would be to a living person. So it's just really kind of remembering about that, and just, we want to make sure that we do this right, and we come at it respectfully, just with the living and the dead, so
True.
it's just
and I suppose it's always a learning process there. I'm still learning there. And I suppose it's like driving a car for the first time. When I remember the first few experiments there, when the glass first started to move, or when we were doing glass divination, there was like, whoa!
I know. Every wee shadow, every wee thing, you're just kind of going, oh my god, it's a ghost, and you have to kind of come at it with a logical kind of brain too. True. Like, you just can't automatically just assume everything's paranormal that goes on around you.
No, so, true.
It's all about just kind of really learning, and training your eye and training your ears to certain things too, you see, and just making sure that, okay, if we can't explain it, if we can't actually debunk it, then maybe can we class it as paranormal, class it as unexplained, so it's just about really just, learning as you go. It's like a field that, to me, I feel like that you can't be an expert in something like this, because there's so much we don't know. So I know there's people who say they're experts in these things, but to me, how can you be an expert when there's still so much that we don't know about this? And like, I want to try and learn as much as I can. And from what I've grew up with, what I've seen, I still can't explain a lot of things. And I can't turn around and say I'm an expert, because I've grew up with this and I've lived with this. Like, it's just one of these things that we're never going to really know until we die ourselves and we see what's on the other side. So it's crazy.
I know, and I was going to say that I suppose myself there were like nobody can be an expert, like nobody.
You're always training, you're always learning.
True, and as you were saying there about like it's a learning process all the time there, but it's kind of great because you mentioned the other team members were there at Sharon Rectory there. You've been there before and all that. You've all had their experience there in other circumstances there. Do you do the investigations solely in Donegal? You're hoping to go further afield?
Yeah, well, we're focusing mainly on Donegal at the moment, just getting around our own county, but we will kind of branch out kind of out of the county, like even in Northern Ireland, too, because it's closer to us than kind of going down the country. So we want to kind of work up around here, and especially with us only really kind of starting to come out of lockdown and things kind of going back to normal again. We haven't traveled far. So we are just sticking around with just our own location, this year, just to see how we get on. Maybe towards the end of the year we'll go further. So it's just really kind of, there's so much like undiscovered places around Donegal that has never been investigated, that we're actually, we've got permission in a lot of these locations that's never been investigated before. So we're really excited about that, to try and get out now and get checking out these locations and just seeing. But another thing is too, with our last investigation that we had, we went back 3 times. Some of us have been there more, because I feel like that you can't investigate one location one night. And if there's an experience that you're having there and that you want to get answers to, that's why we went back to this location. We kept going back to this location because there was answers that we needed for things that we were, you know, experiencing. We wanted to kind of get further answers, like, and there was just some things we couldn't debunk, and it was an amazing location. Like,
I know
it's just,
I was watching the videos. I'm going to show a bit of a clip there in a bit there,
yeah.
but it was like it was sort of halfway in the forest. It was an old mill there,
Yeah.
but it's so there's something mystical about being outside there. I'm just going to say a few more shouts out. Siobhan says hi from Offaly there. TJ Mills says hi all. Hi TJ, how you doing? Colette says she's hearing sounds. I heard it twice.
I heard it too in my ear. I kind of kept talking through it.
I think yeah, as well. Yeah, Louise said she heard it twice. But another voice come through there. So I hopefully anyway it's your end, not my end, Emma. So
I'll send them all to you.
No, please not.
You can deal with them for a change.
There's no funny noises in my house tonight. Anyway, the kids are babysitters anyway. And Adair Eddie says, Eddie says hi from Sonny Banger. How you doing? Hope you're enjoying yourself. So I'm just going to ask you a few more questions about Soul to Soul Paranormal there, Emma Louise. What I was going to ask there is what your goals for the future? Sorry, what are your aims and goals there? Is it to make money? Is it like myself? That's what I was. Be billionaire.
It's purely just it's a hobby. You know, it's something we've all equal interest in. It's nothing about money. It's nothing about fame. We are just going out doing what we love. Wanting to pick up, you know, what we can evidence wise to share with our followers, to share with other teams. You know, we just want to just figure out, as well as any other paranormal team, of what goes on. You know, can we maybe get answers for a certain specific location that has a bit of history? You know, does life carry on after death and these places? You know, we just want to kind of, well, as you would say, life. You just want to kind of like
that's their life. You know,
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
like you know, you want to figure out, you know, when you die, and are you still that same person? Are you still, you know, that same kind of as you were when you're living? Are you still that kind of same person where you're you know, personality wise, and you know, or we just want to kind of figure all this out, you know, and from what we've got so far, evidence wise, because I will go through all the footage, you know, to make the videos and stuff that we do put up on YouTube. And there's some crazy things that I, you know, even things that I look back on and I've rewatched that I've missed, and I've had to rewatch again and think, oh my God, I've actually caught something, because we did in my last video that we put up. We did actually catch a lady kind of form behind Brian in a shot, and I didn't see it the first 7 times I've watched it. But when I watched it back and I brightened it, you could see it. So it's like crazy things that you're like, oh my God, what was that? Was in form, and I caught it in that split second. So it's you know, it's just interesting. Like, we want to kind of try and catch more things like that, and kind of just show other people and share other people, you know, what we catch.
I'll probably ask you another question now, which is probably you don't have to answer if you don't want to. There, do you feel you have the right team members now? Would you be looking for more, or
I feel I'm really happy. No, we really are happy with our wee group that we have. We are really happy now. I think that we've clicked really well. It's all about who, you know, you need to connect with people, and you need to be able to kind of work in their own energy, you know, because everybody, you know, some people can bounce off each other, and then there's other people then that maybe can't be in the same group. You know, you want to kind of keep it all mutual. Everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody, you know, has their wee role, has their wee way of going, like, and you all feel comfortable. That's really important. You know, we don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable when they're in an investigation. We want everybody to, you know, all our team members to feel like, right, well, I want to go now and do this, and like nobody's a boss. You're your own equal people. You want to go now and say, right, well, I want to go over here. Does anybody want to come over with me? That's fair enough. If you don't, I'll go over and do my own thing. And each other and saying, you know, right, this is what we're going to do and tonight, or this is what I think we should do, you know, just sorry, just
get ready for the video.
You see my face zoom up there.
I'm going to leave you completely do the show, Emma Louise.
Sorry.
You see, when you're on the top bit, I'm in the arsehole kind of island there, you know, like, well, not in the arm, I'm on the foot, I'm on the toe
Okay.
there, I'm on this cusp. So what I was going to say, though, I'm going to just show a bit of footage of, this is the intro to the old mill. And I'm probably going to talk about something else just after it, because I remember there was you just reminded me there was like a voice, like a kind of groan, and this was one of the episode 1 there.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like it was a really like a disembodied voice, like, you know, this wasn't a knock or a rap or anything, like, but I'll just ask you about that. So this is from Soul Paranormal. This is the Old Mill, episode 2, and this is the trailer intro to it. So here.
It's safe here, but it's not
Safe further back.
further back.
Yeah.
Where I stop. I don't feel it's safe further back.
What are you feeling when you're walking around here, Kate?
Up where Brian was, I felt death. A lady came, felt someone had come down the hill, and there was a death with a lady. It's a different atmosphere here at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, that's what I said to you the last night too, whenever I was up here.
Yeah.
That atmosphere, it kind of got me. It wasn't here the first time I came up, but I feel it now.
It's a very heavy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I can actually feel it in my chest. And you know what? See, I walked over here and I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Yes.
I swore I saw someone standing there and I thought it was you.
Really? Where?
Over there. Do you know where we were actually at? Before you went down to your car to get the headphones?
Must be Emma them down there, really. See it? See down there?
No, that's the private land.
The hut.
God,
This is a light, isn't it?
did you see that? There's a set of eyes watching us.
Okay, that was the intro to the trailer, sorry, to the Old Mill there in Donegal there. I'm just going back to, you can view that on Soul Paranormal as well on the YouTube channel. We'll give some details out at the end of the show as well. But there's from the first episode, I noticed there was like you were inside like a kind of barn and a shed, and you were calling out. I think you could hear a disembodied voice there. Like those situations there, I remember. I remember my first disembodied voice. I suppose it's like a first drink, first night out, or something like that. But has there been any readings or findings that have been extraordinary, or research? Any readings on equipment, or any research that has coincided with what you've, similar?
So, for example, at the Old Mill now, we never told Kate at all. It was Keith actually told us the kind of story that linked around this mill. Do you know the ghost story? In a sense, where his father actually witnessed a lady appear just out of nowhere. She kind of came from a cottage, just kind of up a bit from the mill, and she appeared and she walked and she disappeared. She disappeared into the hedge. But when his dad went over and checked, he was like, how could she have went through the hedge? Because it was so dense. It was just a big dense hedge. And that was okay then. Later on, he had went back and must have told the brother, the story and all. And he never said nothing. But it came out later on that there was a lady actually supposed to have committed suicide. Well, we reckon it was suicide, but from things that I got through the experiments that we did, we done the sensory experiment where we blindfolded and had the headphones on, but we done it with the spirit box. So I was asking questions and Keith had the blindfold on with a headphone. And we got the name Maureen, and we got that it was more that she fell rather than kind of committed suicide. So we reckon maybe did she fall into the water and she couldn't get out, and somebody, you know, they thought, right, well, it's suicide because she was found in the water. They never really kind of, you know, but this was supposed to have happened maybe 100 years ago. We can't really get the dates right now because it's that's currently what we're trying to look into, because I think it's really important when we're investigating an area to really look in through the history. I know that a lot of times where you might not be able to get the history, but you know, we're still currently trying to find bits on that. But just to have, like, you know, experiences from somebody maybe 40 years ago or more to us having, you know, picking up things about this woman. There was an experience then. You were talking about disembodied voice. The last investigation we had, just as we were packing, you know, our equipment up in the car, we had everything turned off, and I was raging that I had my camera turned off, because usually I had it on the whole time, you know, even my voice recorder. And when we were just sitting talking, it was pitch dark. There was no lights, no nothing, but we heard a woman cry, and it was me and Kate kind of picked it up. The two guys didn't pick it up at the time, and it was like, as you would actually expect to hear from a ghost. It was like, oh, it was a real hang, but it was spooky. And me and Kate looked at each other, we were like, did you hear that? And I was raging. I didn't pick it in my recorder because it would have been so loud, because it was just plain as day. For in that location, in that specific location now, for the likes of disembodied voices was amazing, because the very first time that we were checking out the place, I had my camera. I think it could be, maybe that's the disembodied voice that you were talking about. It was only a wee clip that I put up on the Soul to Soul group. I was up and I was just kind of looking for Keith, because he had went down kind of a wee alley, and it's kind of led into like a tunnel. It was like underground. It must have been like an old sewer or whatever, but it was right underground. You know, he wouldn't have heard me, and Brian was at the other side of the mill. So it was only the three of us checking out the place at this stage, and you could hear me, you know, say, where are you at? And there was like a voice says, hey Emma, but it sounded just like Keith. And I had like the voice, the app on, you know, the necrophonic app, and I thought maybe did it come through that, but it sounded so clear that it was him, and it was his tone of voice. And when I played it back then, it wasn't even from the app. It sounded like it just came out of, it was just out of thin air. And whenever I played it back to him, I says, you know, were you near me, or were you? He says, no. He says, I was actually in the tunnel at this stage, because he just seconds before I heard this voice, he had rang Brian to say that he was just down checking out this tunnel. And so that kind of was a wee bit freaky, you know, just to hear that. And it was as plain as day, hey Emma. And you know, it's just there was loads of other voices we heard, you know, throughout the investigations that we'd done in this location. A lot of just voices that were just kind of just come out of nowhere. And there was a couple of times I've heard Emma, you know, being said, like. So it's just, do they know us? They obviously must have either, you know, seen us talking as a group, and maybe somebody calling Emma, and then so something has to be intelligent that's there, you know, to be able to call my name. Kate heard his name a few times. Kate came up in the ghost box, you know, the name Kate was coming up in the ghost box. So things like that, you know, when you're saying about your equipment, you know, the hits that, you know, okay, if it's coming up once, you know, especially in equipment that keeps coming up, that's whenever you start to kind of question, you know, okay, well, is there something paranormal here? If it's something is it something intelligent trying to talk to us, that it's mentioning this name several times. So yeah, it's an amazing location. I love it.
I was watching it. It's well worth watching it there, folks. There, because I've seen Keith. I think it was Keith who's going down it was a very tight tunnel.
Yeah, that's where he was at this
spiders
point.
Around there and all that kind of area.
Like, him, and he was saying there was spiders the size of his hand down there, and I was like, well, good luck to you, because I wouldn't be going down there. Spiders. I'm more scared of.
That's my type of place. That is. Talking about EVPs and disembodied voices, Jenny Sullivan. Hi, Jenny, from Shadow Whispers in the Night, and Echo.
Hi, Jenny.
Echo Echo Our Paranormal Research. Hi, Jenny. Jenny will be coming on the show soon. Jenny says, good evening, guys. Hi, Jenny. Colin Barrett from Cork. Hi, Colin. How you doing? Colin has also got a question. I thought a question. He's just saying, disembodied voice saved my life as a child. Was playing around in a building site that was closed for the weekend. I heard someone playing around in the building site that was closed for the weekend. I heard someone shout my name. What moved me back a few steps. Seconds later, a steel beam from the upper floor came crashing down and landed on the spot where I had been standing. Ooh, very unlikely I would have survived being hit by it. A quick look around in the way out revealed I was alone on the site. Okay, folks, we just went off air there. Ghost again. Maybe you can still hear us or view us there. We'll give it a few minutes there. I suppose what we'll do is we'll continue on. I suppose the question we should be, we are live now. We should be live there. We're just waiting for a few people. What else I do is I just get that video ready. Okay, so we are live again. Sorry, folks. I know there's one person watching now. That could be myself there. But so we just went off there, folks. There must be something on Emma Louise's side, not my side, obviously.
Always my side. There's people talking. There's a woman talking to me here, and the next thing the camera cuts out and stuff.
It's mad. See shadows behind Emma Louise. We'll know what's going to happen anyway. Don't worry anyway, because we'll put this all together for the YouTube channel anyway when it comes to the website. We are back. I know, Louise. Something went mysteriously mad there. Something went mysteriously mad. You are back. Cheers. So Colin was on about just I suppose fate, probably things telling you things telling you when to take a second when something alerts you there. Jenny says Emerald Eye Panel Researchers. Anthony, I know, sorry there, Jenny there. So I get a bit tongue tied there. Yes, so we're going to talk about Sharon Rectory in a minute. Now that you've all tuned in again, now I'm going to give you the opportunity to actually, because there's a quiz coming up there. I want the first person to write the number 1408. 1408. I want the first person to type the word 1408. If you've been in the competition before, try again. You've got more chances. First person to type in 1408. Louise Walsh says, I do keep hearing a voice on Emma's side there.
I keep hearing it. I don't know if it's my own voice that it's delayed in the actual broadcast, or if there is it, but I hear a woman's voice in my ear. Well,
it's all that's to do. That's the good thing about doing all the spooky stuff. The live things you hear. What this is investigation itself. There.
I know.
So Louise, you're first up. Louise, you join Emma Louise. And Louise there, I'm going to give you a chance. Just stay tuned, Louise there, and you'll be in with a chance to go into a mini draw and Halloween mega draw. And Jean says 40 out. Sorry now, Jean, just a few seconds out there. So we're going to talk about Sharon Rectory. Before I'm going to talk to you about it there, Emma Louise, I'm just going to show the video to it. This is a bit more about the history, folks. And if you don't know anything about Sharon history, this is a perfect video to give you. Oh, that is a nice video there. So I had to show it all there. It's amazing because it shows you more. I might have to ask you anything about Sharon Rectory now. There,
The video just explains it.
that's it. Explains it all. But tell me first of all, how do you get to live at this beautiful place?
Well, my mum and dad bought the house in the beginning of 1995, and they just started renovations, and then it just took a little over a year. We moved in then in 1996, and just it's been a crazy roller coaster ever since. 23 years now. We'll be here, so it's now there's I obviously didn't know anything about when I moved in. I was only very young. My parents, on the other hand, they did hear the stories of Sharon Rectory, and they were both very skeptical. Before buying the house in the 80s, they did have an experience. The house had been abandoned for years, before they bought the house. So it, a lot of people, a lot of local people, it would have been kind of a go-to ground for people to go up and maybe, just to give themselves a scare, or, there was a lot of Ouija board sessions done here, which I think that probably didn't help things. But of course, people, they're just trying to experiment and sometimes they're never really kind of, closed down properly. So my parents anyway, their first experience or encounter with anything kind of paranormal, it was one summer's evening, and they were driving down the back laneway, and my dad pulled the car really close up to the back gate. It was just an old rusted white gate at the time, but it was closed, and they were kind of debating whether or not would they get out and just take a walk around just to see it for themselves. And just out of nowhere, there was this large black dog just appeared out from within the trees, and it just kind of started to run towards them, and they stayed in the car because they were freaked out by this dog. But it was like, they said it was huge. It was like, a really strange looking weird dog, but it had ran straight through the closed gates, and it didn't injure itself whatsoever, but it kind of hit off the side of the car and disappeared, completely vanished. My dad just put the car in reverse, and they backed up the lane because it's just a really narrow old dirt laneway. It still is to this day. But it's a spooky laneway. Recently, that the trees have been kind of cut and around the lane, so it's brighter. But at the time, it was just, you could just imagine a really old, the overgrown trees on each side. So it was very spooky. But so that was their first experience. Now they kind of laughed it off, after they had it, because they thought, there's an explanation for it. It's probably just some random dog that was just a stray that was just running around the whole place. But it wasn't until years later when they renovated the house and we moved in, and it was maybe about a year or so, maybe in between. It's really hard to try and kind of get the exact time, but I remember we had two dogs at the time, and I was walking down the back laneway, and that out of nowhere there was this large black dog jumped out of the hedge. But like, my dogs must have picked it up beforehand, because they were kind of sniffing around, and I thought, was it a cat or something, or a rabbit or something that they seen? And this large black dog jumps out, and it looks at me and has two bright glowing red eyes.
Jesus.
And that to me was like, what is this? Because it's something I can't even describe the breed of. I always say this in podcasts, there's no breed that I can describe to this dog. It's just it's huge, and it's like mixed with a lot of different big breeds. And I thought, my dogs is going to challenge this now, and it's going to be a bloodbath, because it would take my two Labradors out, not a problem. And it just kind of stares at me, and it just was like it stared into my soul, and it ran away, and my two dogs ran after it. And as I kind of just went to run kind of around the corner, it was gone. It was vanished. And I called my dogs, and I ran into my mum, and I told mum. And mum, her mouth just dropped, and she was like, her face went pale when I told her, because I knew nothing about the experience they had with the dog, but it obviously was the same dog that that they had experienced years before even buying the house. But we weren't the only ones that has experienced this dog. There's been many people over the years, even when the house was, before my parents bought the house, when it was abandoned. Now there was people had went up, and it was a carload of people, and a few had went in around the house to walk around, and there was a few that stayed in. They weren't brave enough to go in, so they stayed in the car. And they said that this black dog came out, and then the other ones must have called them and they jumped into the car and they left. But it was a huge black dog that they described too. There was somebody else. We were living in the house at the time, but a lot of people we would have from time to time would drive up the lane or walk up the lane, thinking that they can probably come up just for a wee nosy. And apparently there was a man that got chased down the front laneway by this black dog. But we've never had a black dog. We've always had small dogs or Labradors. I haven't had a dog in years. So if anybody says to me now that there's a dog around here, it ain't any of mine. So that was really, it hasn't only just been us that's had experiences. It's been several people, even just people as guests has come in and witnessed things that's unexplainable. So it goes beyond the point of our story. It's other people has contributed in our story, too, with their experiences, and it's kind of validated a lot of things for us, because you know yourself when you see something and you can't explain it, and you think to yourself, you doubt yourself, because I've done it for so many years. The things I've seen, I've doubted until somebody else says they see it too, or they've seen something and they describe it the same way as you. Because obviously it's where my parapsychology is going to come into, but because you want to try and find logical explanations. And with my background too, I in healthcare, so you're kind of trying to always figure out things mental health wise and stuff. So like, is it psychological? You do question that. You think, oh my god, am I going through a crazy spell, or am I seeing things? You do try and debunk, and this is where my paranormal investigations comes in then too. You want to try and debunk everything, but when you can't, then it's unexplained. It's classed as supernatural, paranormal. So that's what you would kind of come into that category then of things that you can't explain.
I suppose people would say like it might be hallucinations, telepathic hallucinations, all that type of stuff. But as you said, if many people have commented it in the same place as well, it's a very
beyond that, and then
it's something unusual.
Yeah, and it's people too that's not related to us. People that's just maybe came up and that's been a guest for the day. That's actually turned around and says to us, "I've seen this," or I and they might not even things that we've seen, and then they turn around and say they've seen something. That's when you kind of think to yourself, "Oh God, that's a wee bit freaky that they've actually witnessed the same thing as we did," because it's happened so many times. So yeah, it's crazy. That's where it all kind of really began, is when my parents, bought, renovated, and then even whenever the workmen were renovating the house.
Do you still see the Reverend? Do you feel the presence of the Reverend and
Reverend Hamilton? He has came up a few times now. He wouldn't be. He's a very. He has when you feel his presence, he's a very dominant presence. He's very kind of like, he's there. When he'll let you know that he's there. But he's not a person, like a spirit that's there and solid all the time. Like it would have always really been Mrs. Waller at the very beginning. She would have been the main spirit we've seen all the time, and we always thought it was just her. It was only just whenever we were introduced to Kate, and Kate came up, and she was picking up other spirits, and we at the very, very start, when we were only experiencing the Blue Lady, we thought it was just her. But for me, deep down, there was something else there. Since I was no age, there was something else there that I felt that was something not good. I felt really uncomfortable. Certain areas in the house, I felt uncomfortable. I felt like there was eyes watching me, but it was like in a real unnerving way.
Right.
Whenever Kate came and we done the seance, to try and help Mrs. Waller be at peace, or just try and guide her to light, because she was grounded, she was stuck here, she was tired, is what Kate was picking up, that she was tired. And whenever we felt that she had found peace, that that Kate always did say that this will always be her home, that she'll always have a connection here, her energy will always be here. And whenever there is, she had a really deep connection with us and my family, because obviously the experiences that we had with her, she probably didn't have it with a lot of other people. So, my without really knowing, my mum and I and my dad, we were all very sensitive to her energy. And I suppose we acknowledged her, and we tried to help her, and she had that kind of connection with us. She was an intelligent spirit, so.
That's an interesting point. Is you just made me think there, like, because if she may have had a troubled life herself, she might think herself, these lot having a good life. I can live my life now with you lot, you know. And then, you know, and I suppose she could be in visitation, as you said, like she, as Kate did there, like, you know. But you won't think that with a spirit that they could do that. You just put that into my head there, you know. That they might want to have their second cherry just to live with, just to see, you know, grow up. Well, not grow up, but
it is. It's like anything. They say when a loved one passes, you know, and they pass over, and they're there, and they're in there where they're supposed to be. It's not like that when they're there they can't ever come back. They come back and they can be with you, and they can be, you know, it's what I believe that they can still walk alongside you, send you signs and stuff. What's not to say that these people that die and that are stuck here, that are stuck in that kind of limbo, that are grounded to this realm, that, you know, their spirit, once they kind of are able to cross over, that they can always come back to that area that they loved once, so that they, you know, it's the same kind of element really, like. But with Kate had always says that whatever was negative that was in the house, we felt that, you know, even my mum, we felt that Mrs. Waller kept it at bay more than anything, because she was such a prominent kind of, she was profound kind of, she was a really strong spirit at the time when we moved in. You know, she was there every night, and she was really, you know, solid sometimes when you see her, like, you know, because she just, you could see her dress, the wee details in her dress, her hair. No face. I could never see a face. My mum never could see a face. But the night of the seance, Kate did describe that she could see a face, and she was beautiful. She was, you know, just a really beautiful, radiant person, like, and she had a beautiful soul. And she you know, there was no, she wasn't like she was going out to scare us or anything like that. She just was just a spirit that was lost, that just needed help. You know, it's just whenever, you know, after the seance, things kind of settled for a while, but then other things started to happen, and it started to kind of, more spirits started to come through. And just through the years, then down through there was kind of something darker that started to kind of really make itself known. And that it kind of, in the recent years, maybe in the recent probably 5-6 years, maybe a bit more, there has been something that's very, very dark now that's kind of really shown itself. And I think whenever we popped on that I was here, it kind of was retaliating in certain ways. So there was, you know, the investigations we had to put a stop to, because it was just egging it on. It was just, we were living in the aftermath of you know, you come in and you're investigating a location. You don't think whenever you leave that there's going to be any activity after. You think that, oh sure, the activity is built up now, it's shown itself, it'll calm down. It generally doesn't sometimes, like. So if we, you know, you could be living in it then for weeks after. So it was only just in 2019 that we done the investigations, and we put a stop to it then in around November time then, and just ever since then we just said no, we're sticking to our guns with the, you know, even the public coming in, because I feel like that, you know, when you come in and you're constantly reliving it and constantly talking about it in the actual property, you know, that's what kind of springs up the activity.
True,
there's times then there could be nothing, you could be talking about nothing, you know, you try to avoid the conversation, and stuff happens. You know, sometimes it can just be whenever it builds up enough energy, or, you know, what we
So no, I suppose it's, as you said there, it's just bringing back the energy. And if you're trying to move stuff on there, spirits on there, the first thing, you know, yourself, who, like, you've probably done this with, definitely with when you're a childcare there, the first thing a child recognizes is their name, and it's an alert, it's a danger. So if, I suppose we've just mentioned a name here, like, that's probably, I don't know, but the Reverend's wife there, but, you know, that name brings them back in again there. But
you're calling them out, you know, you're asking for them to communicate with you, so they're going to communicate with you.
But as you said, you're having finishing it anyway there at the moment there. So I was going to ask you there, would you have any teams coming over, or any future?
We not for investigations, you know, not for any more investigations, because the last, you know, investigation we did have, it kicked off, and I see with. The only other, I can hear somebody fucking speaking over this.
That's when we just went off there. We just went, there's a little bit of a slight,
okay, because I can hear something speaking. No, so we just says that no more investigations, because I seen what it can do, and it's dangerous more than anything. You know, the only other time we would be bringing in somebody is if we know that they can get rid of it, and you know, this thing that we believe that's here, it's very old, and I think it could be attached to the land. There's more than one, I'd say, here. And I do think that it could take, we've been told, speaking to other people that's kind of dealt with these things before, it's not like it's going to go overnight. These things could take weeks, months, years. Haunting that has like these things that's attached to it, like, or attached to the land or attached to a person. It's not necessarily where you can just do an exorcism and that's successful and it just that moves on or that goes. Sometimes it's not the case. It could be there for a long time, or we could just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people says, why do you still live there? It's our home. My
That's
mom,
the next question I was going to ask you. I'm just looking at that word.
My mom and my
Did
dad.
you ever want to move?
No, my mom and my dad are that stubborn. They're like, no, nothing's going to scare me from. Like, at the end of the day, we've been through this far. We've been through so much. Why get up and leave now? So. For myself now, I've managed to escape the kind of grasp of Sharon Rectory for a while. Like, I managed to live elsewhere, and I was going through a really dark period. Whenever I stayed in one particular area of the house, I found it quite active with whatever negative energy was there, whether it was the thing that overall kind of empowers the whole property, or it was just something else that was there that was quite negative, and it was like feeding off this other thing. But I was in, it's called the coachman's residence. It was just a wee flat that kind of was renovated in the later years. It wasn't renovated with the overall main property. So it was just whenever my mum and dad, gathered money together, they were just renovating bit by bit as they could afford it. And whenever, my sister was born, she took over my room that was right next to my parents' room. So I moved over to the other end of the house. I kind of worked my way over. I was in another wee room beforehand. Started to kind of, get brave to try and to move into the other.
Push you out further. Your sister.
But no, so whenever I moved into, I always had a fear of the coachman's residence. I write about it in my book, about how I kind of how it kind of escalated over time, like, and how kind of my fear kind of I try and overcome it, and I move in, and I think, no, right, okay, I'm going to have to just bite the bullet here and just stick it out and see how I go. And it was fine for the first few days. There was something like where you felt like there was something there, and I remember waking up one night and 7-8 foot big dark figure at the bottom of the bed, and it was like I don't know if you've ever experienced a shadow person where it's like head and shoulders and it's like straight down. I've seen shadow people many times since this time, but that might have been, I don't know if it was a shadow person, if it was something that could have been demonic, if it was something that was definitely something really nasty, because it just had that real kind of heavy, horrible energy to it. And I remember just lying in bed, and I was awake, wide awake. So it wasn't like in my head thinking, is it sleep paralysis? Was I actually awake? Was I sleeping? You go through all these motions. But no, I was awake. I remember even the bathroom light, shining through into the bedroom, and just how I seen it. And it just was a horrible feeling. And I remember just pulling the covers over my head and just praying it was going to be morning, because I felt the only time I actually got sleep was whenever I could see the sun come up, through the curtains, that bit of bright. You felt like it was kind of like, you felt comfort and just the light outside. You might not see, these things, but that doesn't really happen. Sometimes, like, if you're going to see it, you could see it night or day. It doesn't
matter what time.
Sometimes, it doesn't really matter what time. Sometimes, it's easier to see them at night because it's quieter and everything's so still, and because it's darker, you have like a small light kind of in the distance. You'll see the figures pass, or shadows or mists or whatever, that wants to manifest. So yeah, so that was a really frightening experience. And I just felt like that there was just something really heavy in the coachman's. It was horrible. It was, that you had that feeling of being watched. At one point I was in my bathroom, I was getting ready to go to bed, and I looked in the mirror, and the wall behind me, I could see a face come through it, and it just disappeared. As soon as I looked around, it was gone. I do believe that there's a portal in that particular side of the house, and I think that's where this energy was coming through. There was other things coming through, It's over in the recent years then, you know, when speaking with Kate and kind of understanding, you know, the things that's been going on, we do believe there's 2 portals that are actually on the property. One, they say upward, and then there's ones downward. I don't know if you're familiar with the terms, you know, these portals and stuff. And I know a lot of people think portals, you know, it's all these controversial kind of things where you talk about and people believe and other people do believe. But I do believe that there's definitely something that was coming through from that point of the house. Because see, when you go to the main part of the building, it's a completely different atmosphere than when you go to the other end of the building where it's more kind of the servants' quarters. It has a really heavier, darker feeling. That, and then down in the cellar, at the very beginning now, down in the cellar would have been very heavy, horrible, just a lingering kind of catchy in the back of your chest, you know, feeling like where your heart kind of stops when you go down, and it's so dark. You know, even investigations, you know, you would be in complete darkness down there and you wouldn't even see your hand in front of you. It was only just, you know, bits of equipment that, you know, that the teams had, you know, that you would see the lights. There's always just this horrible feeling down there. But recently now that has actually kind of calmed down a bit. That the cellar hasn't been as bad, but I feel like it's moved up from whatever was down there. It's actually moved up.
You've gone a bit more higher
So
there.
it's like walking among us now. But see, whenever I was younger and I was walking down the hallways, you know, the hallway beside the cellar, I always felt like the door would open and something would grab me and pull me in. That's the kind of feeling that you would have got from it. And you know, years ago, I remember my mum and Kate going down into the cellar, and Kate was trying to, you know, well, we just had this thing where it was just, even my mum was at night, her bedroom would be just kind of up the main staircase, whereas under the cellar is where the, you know, the main staircase. So her bedroom then would be the first door then at the top of the stairs down the wee hall. So she would sometimes hear actually the cellar door open or close or bang or knock. So Kate and, you know, this was going back years ago, Kate and Mum went down to the cellar, and I remember Kate saying to me, "You stay up here." I was only maybe a teenager, you know. She says, "You stay up here because whatever's down there will lock you in." And I was like, how freaky would that be if we all 3 of us went down there and we got locked and we couldn't get out? So I had to stay up and kind of stand guard while they went down. And I'm telling you, they were brave, because there's no way, even with somebody, there was no way I would have went down there and sat in complete darkness of the cellar, because it was just that kind of feeling. It must have been, when was it, 2019? Myself, Mum, you know, we were doing kind of, you know, the public tours and stuff, and I was doing I got a projector, and it was just shining the back wall of the cellar, and it was just kind of the hands, you know, it's spooky. It was just an effect that we were just trying to do for, like, you know, an advertisement for one of the investigations. And whenever me and Victoria were down in the cellar trying to record, the lights and all were on. There was no light in the back of the cellar. But Mum came and she was kind of down beside us then, and I had the torch in my phone on, and Victoria was scaring herself because we were looking over, and we were like looking over her shoulder because you see your own shadow. But we were sitting quiet, and I was recording the projector, and the next thing we hear, like, and Mum was like, "What was that noise?" You can hear. I've got the clip. I think I might have it on the Sharon Rectory Facebook page somewhere down if anybody wants to go check it out, because it's freaky. So Mum was like, "What's that noise?" And you can hear me going, "No, go and stop," because like we're one of the ones in the house here, and I'm freaking out as it is. Like, so I went back, and Mum was like, "Listen back to see if you can hear that growl that we heard down there." So whenever I listened back and I had the headphones in, it wasn't even a growl. It was like a really kind of deep, horrible voice going, "Come here." And I was like, "No way, I'm out of here. No way am I going down to the cellar again," because it was the scariest voice you can get. And it was just like, what was it? What did it want us? What did it want us to do? Like, come here?
My
like,
wife's my wife's like that early hours in the morning when she's waking up. She speaks like that. And my mum's like, "You're probably an innocent, so I don't know." Like, we see. I was going to ask you, probably go on to your personal experiences soon there, Emma Louise. Colin says, "I have a spirit board that I have never used for that very reason. I have no idea how to properly close it off."
Yeah.
Well, we use with GhostÉire numerous times there. Like, we do like protection prayer before and after. They would call out for protection to our spirit guides, stroke angels there. Also, the son uses it because he's learning the alphabet and numbers there. He's 4 years old. So, he's great with his letters and numbers. Like, I don't know why. Like,
Different Ouija board to play with.
he doesn't play with it. He just put it up on there on a board.
Okay.
He just learns it there. Like, But what do you reckon to that, though, Emma?
I don't know. I would never use a Ouija board, never. And I know, like, it's like Hallmark. It was like an actual game, back in the day whenever it was first brought out. Like, and it was like harmless, and people like say, oh, there's no such thing as ghosts coming through it, and ghosts can't attach to these things. I believe different. I think that I know the ghosts can't attach to the actual board, but it's a gateway that you're opening. And I know a lot of devices, like whatever, like spiritual devices you use, if it's a spirit box or whatever, any way of communication, you're opening that doorway to kind of communicate with spirits. But there's something about a Ouija board that I think that there's a lot more darker things can come through. I'm just going by just me and from what stories that I've heard, and from just through the years of things, like, and I know there's, if you know how to use them and you know correctly how to open them and close them down, and that's no problem whatsoever. But for me personally, I wouldn't use it. I would be terrified.
I suppose, yeah, it's hard. Like, I remember one of the lads, an ex-team member, was he was a medium. Like, he was a medium. And the first time, I was when we were first starting off with GhostÉire, and we were doing the investigations, and you saw the glass move, and when you saw the glass, you was like, with one finger. I said, "You're a medium. Why are you it's only glass move. Why are you actually seeing it?" But that's a different story. I'm just a comedy. I'm all fucking. But so yeah, folks, we're going to talk to Emma Louise about her personal experiences. I'm going to ask you that, Emma Louise, there, because you got a chance to go in our draw as well. This is a quiz there, so this is, you got a choice of 6 places: the cave, flying saucer, castle, theatre, battleground, and office. Louise Walsh, if you're still listening in, just type in one of those places there, and at the end of the show we'll reveal the answer. You just have to type in one of those places: cave, flying saucer, castle, theatre, battleground, or office there. Emma, do you want to pick a place?
Oh, definitely castle. Has to be castle.
Castle. So I'll put down castle there. So you got a couple of minutes there, Louise, there, just to type down the word, any of those 6 places there. I'll give you 1 minute there, because then I also can pass it on to Jean. She's still there. You got about 20 minutes to do it anyway there. Well, I'll give you 5 minutes there anyway there, Louise. If you're still she's come back. Okay, good. Battleground she's gone for there. Okay. I don't know the answers to this. I don't know what if it's going to be in the mini draw or Halloween mega draw. So we did a poll, folks, there, and it was to do with would you have the courage to stay overnight at a locked off hotel room that was isolated due to paranormal activity there? So I'm just going to reveal the results here now. So a good number of you voted there. I'm going to come to what you think of the answers. So here are the results. So we asked you, would you have the courage to stay overnight at a locked off hotel room that was isolated due to paranormal activity? And 73% of you said yes, which is great. Oh, that's great. Yeah. 15.4% of you said unsure. 11.5% said no, and I think there was another 20%. I don't know. It's 120% that said as long as they got satellite TV. But I'm only joking. I'm messing. But yeah. So what do you like? Because I asked probably this question there because you actually live in a place there you had no actual choice really yourself. Emma Louise, is that right? I suppose when you were young, the area you lived in, you didn't have any actual choice in the matter of if you could live there or not. But people say yes, 73% there. So, what would you think? Would you spend a night in a?
Oh, of course, sure. I'm more or less living in a hotel as it is, an active hotel as it is. Yeah, totally. For me, I've embraced the paranormal. A lot of people would you know, would say, you know, God, I would be running a mile, like I wouldn't be staying there. But for me, I had no choice when I was younger because my parents lived here, and you know, we just rolled with it, like. But for now, as an adult and a person that's embracing the paranormal, definitely, I think that, you know, yeah, I would definitely stay in. It'd be nice to experience other energies.
Yeah, because I was going to say there, well, probably another thing that I was going to probably say, I was going to ask that question, would it, if you stayed in a locked off room, would you report it the next day if you found something there? But here's the rest of the results there. Yeah, would you have a courage? And there you go, there's 73.1%. 15.4 said unsure. That's the 15.4 that would probably go in and then run out in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And 11.5 are probably people there. Oh, no. Even not even on TripAdvisor, I'll go for that there. Like, you know. But a few comments there. Colin says, yes, I would stay. One in one. No one said anything about sleeping in it though. That's true there, Colin. That's definitely true. And Kate says, yes, for sure, I would stay there. Yeah, she says, Kate also said, you come stay one with us there. And oh, yeah, we'll see you there. I don't know. What, is it the five of us or the whole team?
I
know. I don't know. We'll see anyway, Kate, there, like, you know. I had enough last night from Gary Waters there. Go search as well. Colin says, I'm actually planning a trip to the Clayton Hotel in Sligo later this year. It used to be an asylum. You would know. Well, it's around that area, isn't it? There, you've heard of that, yeah.
I haven't actually heard much. I haven't looked into it, you see, myself. But like, it was definitely have to be some kind of residual energy of there, of anything. If it was an asylum, like, it have to be something lingering around. But you know what? There's everywhere has some kind of spiritual activity. You know, there's either if it's residual or if it's like there is something intelligent there. There's definitely, I think, we could be walking into our supermarket and there could be activity and you're just not seeing it. Do you know? Because it's funny, we always say,
I always mention supermarket.
I know. In Strabane, in Tyrone, just in Strabane, there's an Asda, and it used to be, I think, an old train station or something, but it's known to be actually haunted, the Asda. And you know, it's just, there's like, you could just be walking around doing your weekly shop and just see a ghost, and you're thinking it's actually.
Oh no, I won't be. I suppose that's happening at the moment. I'd be like that in the supermarket. I don't know what they're not ghosts. They're just people they don't know. They haven't seen a supermarket in ages. They've been so used to getting home deliveries. Like myself, I'm always waiting in the car. The wife has gone shopping. I got the kids. I'm not allowed in.
I know.
I forget what a supermarket looks like. Colin says, "Hi, Michael. Hi." Michael, how are you doing? Colin says it was a room out of use due to activity. Oh, good. Now, if Colin, if you're going, when are you going there? Later this year. If you're going there, let us know anyway how you get on there, and even post a video up or something there, like, you know, do something there. We'll come back to you, see how you got on in there. Like, even if you're around there Halloween night, we could do a live there, Colin. There, you know, you never know, around Halloween time there. So. Yeah, personal experiences there. So I know you might have mentioned a few of them, but I'm going to mention some questions just to get some more gossip out of you there, Emma Louise. So everyone was watching. Is there anything, like, have you gained anything over the years? Any abilities, like, is it clairvoyance, telepathy, or ESP?
I wouldn't say I'm as good as the likes of Kate, you know, with picking up things, and I can pick up an energies, definitely, if I'm tuning into it, you know, constantly walking around looking for something, you know, or you're getting out your phone, taking pictures, looking for ghosts and pictures and stuff. Like, definitely, if you feel like that there's something around you and you want to snap a picture to see if you can get anything in the picture, you would do it the odd time. Like, but like, I know, you know, for me, I have, because I've seen things and I feel like I've developed it along the way, you know, of seeing things and hearing things. My sister, on the other hand, now she's she's very, very open, very, you know, good at tuning in things. She hears spirits like they're on the phone. You know, she can hear them quite clear. And my mum would be the same too. You know, we've all kind of developed in a sense with this, you're opening yourself up to the spirit realm because you're living with it, and there's just times that you just don't have a choice, and you know, your own senses develop. And you know, everybody's born with this ability. It's whether or not you kind of want to embrace it and kind of learn to kind of control it and learn to kind of understand it, or else you just hide it and just forget about it. And a lot of people, that's why a lot of people skeptic then, you see, because they're like, I don't want to even have an experience because it's not something that I'm interested in. And you just you get up and you live your life normal, like not seeing any ghosts, or maybe you do eventually. It's just all really depends. Like, but for me, I have developed over the years with hearing and seeing things and sensing things, especially. For me, how I know if there's something that's kind of, you know, negative around me, my heart races and I start to get like, you know, a sweaty kind of feeling, like when your body feels it before, you know, your brain is actually registered to what's around you.
Right.
And you probably heard me talking in the trailer for the Soul to Soul, the old mill, of me saying, you know, when I walked up to the top of the stairs, I felt the first time when I went up there, I didn't feel anything. But the second time I went up, it was like it caught me on my chest and my heart started to race whenever I felt like I was out of breath. That's when I know there's something quite negative around, something heavy around. When it comes to like, you know, your good spirits or whatever, you know, you'll have a sense that they're there and they're around you. I don't have any fear towards them at all, because obviously whenever I was scared at the start, you know, I was scared of everything I was seeing. And just over the years then I kind of, more so in the recent years, when I lost my grandfather, especially last year, you know, I feel a lot braver because I feel like he's always there with me and he'll kind of, you know, make sure that kind of like.
I was going to ask you that question. I was just going to come up to you and say, do you have any spirit guides or angels?
Yeah, I feel like that he's been kind of really there the last year or more now with me, like, and like when I would have never walked around outside Sharon Rectory in the dark ever. And after his death, you know, a few months after, I was walking around outside in the dark, wouldn't even have faced me. And I there's a lot of things that's around this, like this place that a lot of people wouldn't walk around in the dark, and even indoors, like you wouldn't walk around in the dark.
Was he gifted himself? Was he gifted?
He would have seen things. He did. He's seen things. You know, he had a really deep connection with Sharon Rectory, because before even my parents bought the house, when he was a youngster, he would have helped his dad. His dad maintained the laneways. That was my great grandfather. So there was always a connection with my family and my mum's side. You know, with her dad. There was always a connection with Sharon Rectory. So it's really weird how it kind of came about that my parents then eventually owned it. So it's I feel like that he'll kind of remain here, not in the sense of he's grounded or anything. I do think he's at peace. Like he's definitely here watching over us, because I think he knew deep down there was something here that was heavy, that was dark, like you know. So I do feel like that, you know, since, you know, his passing, I feel more braver when it comes to spirits, and I feel like I know kind of the approach I need to kind of take, you know, with you know, moving forward, you know, spiritual communication, things like that. You know, I do feel like you need to come at it at a very respectful approach, even if it is something negative. You have to really, really be careful where you're treading, and not aggravate, not kind of, you know, make it worse, because you can make it worse if it's like anything, you know, even in the living, like if you're going to taunt somebody, or, you know, if you're going to call out and, you know, be negative towards somebody, that person's going to snap back. So it's the same as these entities, or these spirits too, that you know, a spirit that could have been maybe you know, a negative human being, like a horrible human being. I do believe that sometimes that they're in death, they're the same, and that's where you get these nasty spirits where they attack, or where they do, you know, horrible things, or you know, just the sense that they have around them. So I do think you just need to be very, very careful and respectful.
I'm going to ask you, I suppose I'm going to ask you a question now, because you just mentioned your grandfather there. Like I probably haven't asked this before to anybody else there, but do you feel like the abilities for yourself to communicate to the other realm is going to make you stronger when you are on the other side, to make contact with this realm that we're living in this realm? As in, when we pass over, do you have that strength to come back? So if you were if you had a good sense in your abilities, could you make contact with the living on this realm?
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good question. I've never ever had that actually asked to me before, but I do believe, that could be if you've developed over your period when you were living, and you're still kind of when you die, and you're in the spirit realm, when you want to try and communicate back to the living. I do believe that you're going to know that you're going to have that awareness that you tried when you were living, you tried to communicate with the dead. Now you're dead and you're trying to communicate with the living. I do believe that obviously is still happening, because this is where where I was talking at the start, where you kind of, when you're investigating, you want to understand intelligent, residual, it's all energy. We're all made up of energy. Energy never dies. So when we die, we're an energy, but do we still hold that intelligence when we were living? And I do believe definitely in certain scenarios, I've seen it for myself, obviously with my own personal experiences, and obviously whenever I was out investigating with, just the responses that we got, and kind of, I do think that there's definitely intelligence in death. So yeah, I'd say that whenever you hold an ability, when you're living, if you're a spirit, a spiritual medium or clairvoyant, or just any kind of ability, I do believe that when you pass on, you're going to be able to try and communicate with the living then. So yeah, I would like to think that anyway. I don't know, as I'm saying, I'm not an expert, so I'm just kind of going by my own experiences and kind of just what I'm learning along the way, because it is a constant learning experience. I feel like that there's nobody that's an expert in this field, because how can you be an expert in something that's never really going to be a, unless you die and come back to life and you can be guaranteed that you have evidence there to say otherwise, So
I suppose it's how you project yourself in this lifetime and come in the afterlife. I suppose, as we say, like if it's how you project yourself in probably in the afterlife, you could come back if you were delving into the dark arts or you murdered somebody, and that's how you can come back again and bring that energy in, as well as the good. It can be the bad as well, unfortunately, there, but I suppose that's the balance as well, that's what's make people good,
where you've got good, you've got evil, so
true. Yeah, I know. That's why you're good and I'm only joking. I'll ask you another question there just before I come to you. I'll just say shout out there. Hi guys, can we have a recap? Just joined. Hi Caroline. Well, we're just talking about Emma Louise's personal experiences there. We're coming towards the end of the show there, but I'm just going to put, if you have a question there, Caroline, anything to do with personal experiences, you can put it forward there. We'll be replaying this on YouTube as well and on our website there. I'm just going to ask you another question. Have you ever been ridiculed for, as have you noticed being ridiculed more now as a paranormal team?
What do you mean, backlash kind of, or
backlash,
negative, negative responses in what you do and what you believe?
Maybe from neighborhood or locality, or
growing up through the years, whenever we my parents first kind of were open about our experiences, what we were witnessing in Sharon Rectory, definitely there was no doubt that 20 years ago a lot of people didn't believe, they never talked about. A lot of people believed, they just never talked about it, because it was something that you didn't talk about, because you would have just been classed as insane or on drugs, and that's all the comments that my family got over the years. In recent years, I do believe that more and more people are open to the paranormal, more people are having more experiences, and that when you have one person that talks about experiences, other people will come forward and other people will tell you their experiences, because they'll know that, okay, you're having an experience, I've had an experience, I've never talked to nobody about it before, because since I've wrote my book and I've been public with my experiences, I've had so many people approach me, message me, say that they've had experiences, and it's good to talk to somebody about it, and I feel like that I'm doing some kind of good out of talking about it, and it's, I've been through hell and back, with what I've seen and felt in Sharon Rectory, and a lot of people are like, why would you go and start chasing it now when you're in a team? But it's because I have a lot that I need to try and wrap my head around, and I need to try and explain. I need to try and understand. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to understand what I've experienced over the years, and I know I'm never going to be able to get a full explanation or never be able to, you know, get the full understanding on it until, you know, my time's up. But I just feel like that I'm getting some kind of answers, you know, with understanding certain things. So yeah.
As you said, yeah, like I was going to ask you then about the, you know, the book, your personal experiences. Can it be helpful to others? And I suppose you just answered that. Even if you're a skeptic or researcher or somebody who's going through what you had there, like you, it's good to have that experience with the book, the Haunting of Sharon Rectory, because it explains how your life, the first that up to now, sort of. But you know, it's good for people, because there is people probably going through that process down. It has, as you said, more opened up now, which is it's amazing, and it's great that you published it there.
Yeah, because I was debating, like at the time I was writing the book. Now I was writing the book for a long time because I was always, you know, writing my experiences down, and you know, I was kind of keeping a diary and what we were kind of going through, and it was like, you know, all my friends were like, God, you've been writing this book for years, and are you ever going to publish it? And I just felt like that I needed to know when the right time. I needed to know when the right time it was to publish it, and I felt like that was the right time to publish it, and to kind of, I felt like I was in a stronger headspace to be able to deal with any negative feedback, or to be able to, you know, because you're going to have people it's going to end off, and I've you know, I deal with it, and I just get up and get on with it, and I respect everybody's decision, I respect everybody's opinion, everybody's beliefs. So I'm just telling my story. I'm just, you know, if people are interested in hearing the story, you know, that's you know, I'm going to talk to them about it.
And I suppose for yourself, then it opens, you can move on as well, and you can go on to now. You're in the stage, you've shown Rectory, I suppose it's even one chapter there, but it's still there, like, you know.
It's still there.
You're moving, you're expanding with the team as well, you know.
I'm expanding my you know, experiences with the paranormal world, like, because at the end of the day, I'm embracing that, so it's something that I want to do. It's something I want to kind of look into more. So yeah, so I don't mind, you know, and checking out other places, because it's good for me too to understand different energies, different other energies that's around. So it's not only just Sharon Rectory and focus constantly on Sharon Rectory. So, you know, then if there's something that's new around Sharon, I might be able to pick up on it, because maybe I've picked up on it in another location, you know. So it's all about learning.
Kate says some voices can actually be from a parallel world too. So on a level playing field to that, we don't know if we're actually doing it ourselves, like, you know. I know you read my mind there, Kate. There.
That's actually a really good example. You know, I remember when whenever I was talking about, you know, the mill, and about hearing "Hey Emma" with Keith's voice. Kate did actually explain this to us, that it could have been him from another time, and it could have been his voice that echoed through. So that's an example. So because it was his voice that I heard, and I picked up on the recorder, the camcorder. So it was crazy then. And then whenever we explained it to Kate, then Kate was like, that could have been Keith in a different time saying "Hey Emma." Maybe it could have been from another investigation that we were going to do.
True, because you don't know. We're the unconscious there. You just don't know once we're
there. So it's crazy. You know, I think
we were still alive, but when we go in even a sleep pattern, when we're near death, but in that sleep pattern, when we're in a theta, I think it's a theta brainwaves, the frequency of brainwaves makes us slow down.
Yeah.
And we could, you know, traveling with just on the brink of death, just in that situation there. But you know, we could travel. We don't know. Time is only distance, and you know, in Keith. You know, as long as I don't hear Keith in another hour.
I know.
So sadly, we're going to have to end the show soon. But first of all, there's a few more things there. Mary Jo Down says it's like butcher Lily, you'd want us to be afraid of them. The one then I have gone on, as my grandmother used to say.
It's probably the living you need to be afraid of more than the dead.
It's the living, definitely. God, I'll be the same myself.
A lot of people have said that to me, but trust me, you can fear something dead too. I've had physical attacks. I've had physical attacks from something that I can't explain. Burns, scratches, bites. so they can harm you. There's nothing to say that they can never harm you, like that they can. I know people say unless you experience it yourself, you're not going to believe it. But yeah, I've had physical attacks that I can't explain. Nothing was near me, and I could see it coming up there and then. You know, when it comes to burns and scratches and things. So yeah, that's just my experiences. Maybe you need to experience that for yourself, but there's been so many people, as always says to me, you know, oh, sure, it's more the living that you need to fear rather than the dead.
Yeah.
I'm sitting going, yep.
Yeah, you have to watch yourself.
Yeah, just
well,
don't
my
speak too soon.
mum says the only person to look after yourself is yourself. Trust yourself. Caroline says, what has happened to the power community? It feels to me that it has changed so much from when I was in group investigations. Yeah, I suppose because of the onset with COVID, there groups can't probably meet up there, and it's hard.
Yeah.
And I suppose in the past, I know there was conventions as well in the past. Then I suppose it's hard to get a convention. I was just talking to this about Gary last night, and it's just
it's just really difficult to get connecting again. Really, it's just getting into back out there again, and I think everybody's just trying to find their feet again. So that's why there's probably not a lot of meeting up in teams. You know, the para unity thing is because it's very difficult at the minute, because you're only trying to get the swing of it back out with your own team again before you start kind of, you know. I suppose,
and it's true. I suppose it's locations as well. Like there used to be convention years ago in Dublin there, and I suppose it's where the Midlands there. It's when everyone can get to as well. But it's hard to. It's just so hard. It's so hard at the moment with insurance, and it's a lot of money into doing these conventions or and all that. And I suppose with meeting up with other groups, then that can be done at the location. That will probably happen in the future. It's just with COVID as well, and it's just a bit difficult there. Mary Jo says. But boys and orange, that is, I have loads of experience growling in my ear. Trust in Jesus. No worries, Mary Jo. And Kate says the power community has changed so much because the ego stepped in. Don't know what you're talking about, Kate. I'm joking. I'm messing.
It's all about being humble. You have to be humble. You have to kind of just be real, you know, be humble. And it's not about fame or following and stuff. It's all about the, you know, I know it's just like a broken record. It's all about, we're all trying to look for the same thing. It's true. Like we're all on the same path. We're all trying to get the same kind of answers. So it's all about just being humble and just.
Yeah, it's nice. I suppose Mary Jo says, I could go on. Thanks, Mary Jo. We'll probably be leaving the show now in a minute there, but in future shows you can tell us more about it there. But I suppose, it's probably egos, and I suppose it's all to do with those likes, and you get money, like YouTube, and I don't know, what's that other thing? TikTok.
Oh, TikTok, yeah.
Behind them.
You're as bad as me.
I think Kathy is right there. So this is the quiz there, folks. So Louise there, if you're waiting there, I'm probably sorry now for delaying you there, Louise, and Emma Louise. So Emma Louise, you picked the castle. Louise, you picked the battlefield. So let's see what it is. Let's see how lucky you are both. Here we go. So we had the cave, the flying saucer, castle, theatre, battleground, and office. And no luck with the theatre, battleground, or office. Sorry, Emma Louise, I think you're lucky there. You've got the castle, so you're in the mini draw. And the Halloween mega draw was the cave there. So you're in with the mini draw there, Halloween mini draw. There, Emma Louise.
Happy days.
So there you go. We're going to get some. Well, you're in the draw. You're not going to get anything yet.
Yeah, no, I'm only in the draw.
So I'm just going to come back to you there, Emma Louise. There, tell us more details about Soul to Soul Paranormal and even the book as well, showing the Haunting of Sharon Rectory.
So Soul to Soul Paranormal. You can follow us on our group on Facebook. And we're only on Facebook and YouTube, so you can Soul to Soul Paranormal on YouTube too. So just check us out. We're going to do as many, investigations and upload them. Episodes, and I'll upload them onto the YouTube channel. But any kind of wee bits of evidence or any wee pictures and things we put up all on our group, so you can check them out on Facebook and YouTube. As for Sharon Rectory, you can get my book, The Haunting of Sharon Rectory. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. And you can check me out then on the Sharon Rectory Facebook page. So it's Sharon Rectory, Donegal, Ireland. And also there's the YouTube, the Sharon Rectory YouTube, and the Sharon Rectory Instagram. I'm not as active anymore on the YouTube because I've been so busy with the investigations, and all my focus is kind of in editing of all the videos. But hopefully, in the coming months, maybe I might try and get a few videos up on the Sharon Rectory YouTube then. But you have a good few videos to kind of keep you going on the Sharon Rectory YouTube for now.
And look, Mary Jo says, will do, guys. Yeah, we'll be doing another show, hopefully. So I'm just going to give some details in a minute of the next show. Caroline Hughes says, thanks, Emma. She enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And Elaine Curtis as well says, fantastic show. I love listening to Emma Louise speaking for experiences in Sharon Rectory, and such a lovely person.
Oh, thank you.
Great watch, guys. No worries there. Doesn't say anything about me, though, she? I'm only joking, Elaine. Louise says, good woman, Emma. And Caroline, you says, hi, Brian, and long time. Yeah, so folks, next show we're hoping to have Jenny Sullivan there from Emerald Isle Paranormal Researchers, and Jenny's going to be talking about the Mill Mount Museum and EVPs. That's in a few weeks' time. Also, we have this coming up as well, which is at the start of next month, is the Bell Tower. We're doing a Bell Tower investigation, which is situated in a bell tower. So it's
the obvious.
so, we're not revealing the location there because we don't want people hopping in there because we're afraid of the living warden. But it's we'll be night vision cameras there, so we'll be doing experiments and locked off cameras as well, so you'll be able to see. You'll be our eyes, our ears, our asses as well, so you can move us around wherever you want us to. Our senses, I meant there. So join us on that as well. And just another couple of shouts out there. Norma says, hi, Norma. Hi, Auntie. Thanks for the great show this evening. Norma's across the road from me there. Hi, Norma. And Kate says, great show. And TJ Mills says, great show, really interesting. Thanks, Emma Louise and Anthony. And Brian McMahon from Belfast Paranormal Investigator says, great show as always, guys. And Irene Smith says, hi all. Goodbye now, Irene.
Goodbye.
So everyone, thank you for participating tonight there, and thank you, Emma Louise there, and hopefully we'll have you again on the show there. Hopefully we're all out and about soon, and I can get rid of this thing and hard to do all these things there, like but yeah, folks, thank you there, and thank you, Emma Louise, and love to all at Soul to Soul Paranormal there. I won't see you next time. I'll see you in the near distance. Goodbye for now. Bye. Bye.